Our second part of the Old Jaffa tour begins at one of the city's most iconic landmarks, the Clock Tower, a symbol of Jaffa's transformation from an ancient walled city to a modern urban center. The clock square served as the main plaza in the city beyond the walls, becoming a hub for both government institutions and commercial activity. The square's defining feature emerged as part of a broader Ottoman modernization initiative. In the early 20th century, to commemorate Sultan Abdulhamid II's 25th year of reign, elegant clock towers were erected in various cities across the land, including Jerusalem and Haifa. Jaffa's own magnificent clock tower was built as part of this celebratory campaign. The establishment of the clock tower marked a significant cultural shift in the city. Previously, ringing of bells came from mosque minarets and church towers. The clock tower's construction thus symbolized a transition toward a more civil society, representing the Ottoman Empire's embrace of modernization and progress. The Saraya, Arabic for government house, is a prominent building in Clock Square that served as the seat of Turkish rule in Jaffa. Built with donations from the city's wealthy and notable citizens and inaugurated in 1897, it housed both municipal institutions and the Turkish government offices that administered the region. Returning from Clock Square to Kedumim Square, we encounter one of Old Jaffa's most impressive landmarks, St. Peter's Church. Built by the Franciscans in 1888, this Catholic church showcases magnificent neo-Baroque architecture, featuring New Testament scenes and striking stained glass windows of saints. The church's centerpiece is a painting depicting Peter's vision to spread Christianity among non-Jews, topped by a dove with rays of light symbolizing the Holy Spirit. Unlike most churches that face east, this one faces west toward Rome, where Peter considered the first pope in Catholic tradition. A unique circular structure on the church's right side contains a small room, a remnant of an ancient Crusader fortress that survived the Mamluk conquest in the 13th century. According to local monastic tradition, this room hosted Napoleon Bonaparte during his 1799 visit to Jaffa. This architectural blend of historical fortress and religious sanctuary makes the church a remarkable monument to Jaffa's layered history. From St. Peter's Church, we'll descend through Kedumim Square to the beautiful Mazel Dagim Street. The walk is an opportunity to tell the dramatic story of Napoleon's conquest of Jaffa. Napoleon's conquest of Jaffa was part of his campaign in the Holy Land, which began in Egypt and ultimately ended in failure at the Siege of Acre in May 1799. After capturing Gaza and Ramla, Napoleon chose to take Jaffa, considering it crucial for maintaining maritime connections with Egypt. On March 3, 1799, Napoleon arrived at Jaffa, which was then a walled city with towers overlooking the Mediterranean. After positioning his divisions and artillery, he offered the city a chance to surrender peacefully. When his messengers were beheaded, the French army began their assault on March 7th, breaching the southern wall and engaging in fierce street fighting until capturing the city. The aftermath was marked by extraordinary brutality. The French army embarked on a night of violence, resulting in 1,000 to 1,500 civilian casualties through murder, rape, and looting. Napoleon did nothing to stop the atrocities until morning. The violence was attributed to the soldiers' anger over the treatment of French prisoners and cultural alienation between the French and locals. Most controversially, Napoleon ordered the execution of approximately 3,200 Ottoman prisoners of war who had surrendered. While Egyptian prisoners were released, the remaining captives were divided by nationality and systematically executed over several days. The executions took place on the beach south of the city, with prisoners being shot or bayoneted to save ammunition. This brutal conquest and its aftermath intensified resistance to French forces, particularly during the subsequent siege of Acre. The end of the street leads us to the summit garden, where we find Ramesses Gate, a remarkable entrance to an Egyptian fortress from approximately 3,300 years ago. What visitors see today is a reconstruction of the original gate, whose authentic remains are preserved in the Jaffa Museum of Antiquities. The stones incorporated into the current gate are precise replicas of the original ones, bearing inscriptions of 3 of the 5 royal names of Rameses II, reflecting this powerful pharaoh's presence in ancient Jaffa. At the heart of the garden stands the Faith Monument, a striking sculpture by Daniel Khafri. The entire monument is designed as a gateway, symbolizing the entrance to the Holy Land, drawing inspiration from the nearby Ramesses Gate. The garden offers an impressive panoramic view of Tel Aviv, with the modern city's dramatic skyline stretching along the Mediterranean coastline. Connecting the garden to Kedumim Square is the Bridge of Wishes, an elevated walkway that crosses over the main road and spans Old Jaffa. According to local legend, if you stand on the bridge, hold your zodiac sign symbol, and gaze out to sea, your wish will come true. The zodiac symbols were chosen for the bridge as part of a broader theme established during Old Jaffa's renovation in the 1960s, when the streets were named after the 12 signs of the zodiac. The Old Saraya building in Old Jaffa exemplifies the city's Ottoman heritage. Built in 1724 atop Crusader fortress ruins, it initially served as a khan before becoming the Ottoman governor's headquarters in 1811. The building housed government offices, a post office, prison, well, mosque, and hammam. After the new Saraya opened at Clock Square in 1897, part of the building became a Christian-owned olive oil soap factory. On the other side of the building once stood the Hammam Club, a significant cultural institution that flourished in 1960s Israel. The venue, taking its name from the building's former Turkish bath, became a vibrant center for Israeli culture and arts, hosting prominent musicians, artists, and cultural figures during a pivotal decade in the young nation's artistic development. In 1820, this courtyard was purchased by Rabbi Yeshayahu Ajiman, a high-ranking official in the Turkish army, who came to the Holy Land to visit the graves of righteous Jews. Finding Jaffa's small Jewish population lacking organized community structures, he established a khan for Jewish pilgrims and a synagogue. Known locally as Dar al-Yahud, Jewish courtyard, this site served as Jaffa's Jewish center until the 1921 riots. Under Ajiman's leadership, this courtyard became instrumental in rebuilding Jaffa's Jewish community life. The view from Jaffa's promenade reveals several historical landmarks connecting Jaffa to Tel Aviv, including the building now housing the Etzel Museum and the distinctive Hassan Bek Mosque. Looking eastward, you can see characteristic single-story houses with red-tiled roofs, which marked the beginning of Tel Aviv's urban development from its ancient neighbor Jaffa. Descending from Summit Garden leads us to Yeffet Street, home to the renowned Abulafia Bakery. This historic family-owned establishment has become more than just a bakery. It stands as a symbol of coexistence and dialogue between Jews and Arabs in Jaffa. Operating around the clock, the bakery made a significant gesture of cultural respect after the establishment of the State of Israel by choosing to close during Passover and Yom Kippur in deference to its Jewish customers. Jaffa's Flea Market, Shuk Hapish Bashim, is a vibrant cultural landmark that has been operating since the 19th century. Located in the heart of Old Jaffa, the market has evolved from its Ottoman-era roots through the British Mandate period to become one of Tel Aviv Jaffa's most distinctive shopping destinations. Today, the market pulses with life throughout the year, attracting locals, tourists, and antique enthusiasts with its eclectic mix of offerings. Permanent shops and stalls display an array of merchandise, from vintage furniture and antiques to nostalgic items and second-hand treasures. Independent vendors also set up temporary stalls, adding to the market's dynamic atmosphere and continuing a trading tradition that spans generations in this historic quarter of Jaffa. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Old Jaffa, where ancient stones tell stories spanning thousands of years. From Egyptian pharaohs to Ottoman sultans, from biblical tales to modern-day cultural revival. We hope you've enjoyed discovering the hidden treasures and rich history of this remarkable port city. For more historical tours and cultural explorations, please subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for upcoming content that will continue to uncover Israel's fascinating heritage.